Well, hello there, my friend. Quick question for you. Has a moment like this one that I'm just about to describe, has this ever happened to you? So last night, while you were trying to fall asleep, you think of this really creative idea for your post for your audience. You've literally planned the entire thing in your head, and you convince yourself as you're falling asleep that you're going to remember this post in the morning. You wake up, you grab your phone, and then bam, you completely forgot every single thing. Yep, that has happened to me more times than not. So let me make a point of saying this for me and for you. We have to start using those journals that we keep in our drawer beside our bed. The most incredible ideas I have for my business usually happen when I'm falling asleep. I would say it's probably happening because I'm not distracted by other things, and that's when I start to be dreaming about my goals. That's also what makes us different as entrepreneurs, don't you think? I love what I do, and I'm sure that you love what you do too. Or really, as entrepreneurs, we wouldn't continue doing what we're doing. But those goals and the dreams, sure, they involve my business. But my business is designed around my lifestyle. And I get to work with the most amazing clients and students, and I get to help people bring their big goals to life too. It's really a circle of wins in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that sometimes wins don't have any hurdles to get through. Content creation sometimes can be a huge hurdle that we have to get through in order to get to where we want to be as entrepreneurs. I get it, my friend. Trust me, I seriously get this. It may seem easy on the outside, but we know that constantly pushing out content, it's not easy. Even when you are just sticking to doing one post per day, it's pretty challenging to stick to that specific routine. So what I found worked for me to constantly push out content is making sure that I batch my content. Batching your content simply means creating a boatload of content at one time versus trying to do it once a day. So for me, by doing that, I focus on social media 12 times a year versus 365 days of the year. So that includes my blogs, my podcast, my YouTube video, my reels, my feed content. I know, you're probably thinking this is a little bit unrealistic, but trust me, when you start to batch your content, you will really see the power in being a planner like I am. So today, I want to break down a little bit more on how you can actually batch your content, especially talk about what works and what doesn't work. That way, you start working a little bit more efficiently inside of your business. So, all right. So let's first of all talk about even knowing what your content is going to be about. So think about this for a sec. What would you say if I asked you what type of content you push out to your followers, your prospect, or even your clients? Do you know that answer? Now, I'll always tell you that if you are trying to use social media to grow your business, you need to learn the content side of your business. And the easiest way to simplify your content is to break your business into specific themes or specific pillars is how I like to call them, which essentially is a few topics or themes that represent your business, reflect your brand, but are also in the interest of your audience or your prospective clients. So what you don't want to do is pick a theme that won't really attract the people that you actually want to work with. When you define your pillars, you'll be pushing out a cohesive message through your social media, but it'll also make it really easy for you to create content in batches. So think of them kind of like a guide that will help you structure your content better and stop you from coming up with posts that really just don't align with your brand identity. One thing that you should always do when crafting these pillars is to actually look back at your previous post. Look for a pattern with the themes of the best performing ones that you have up there already. That will tell you the sort of content that your audience is more likely to relate to and understand. You're going to also want to pay attention to what are those posts? What type of post? Was it a video? Was it a selfie of you? Was it of your kids? You on an adventure? What was it? Knowing these will give you an idea of the sort of content that you should be continuing to produce. Honestly, your audience engagement tells you so much about your content. And when you combine that engagement info and stick to set pillars, you'll boost your relationships even more. And when your brand starts to be a little bit more recognizable because you're creating consistent content. That's also why it's so important that you put the right energy into your post. Stop trying just to slap something up there and move on with your day. you need to make sure that the content you are creating gives your prospects or even a complete stranger the best experience with your brand from moment number one. So how do you actually do this? What I want you to do is actually block off a specific time frame where all you do is focus on your audience content. It's simple. Just as you would block in a time to exercise or being with your family, block time in your calendar for content creation. Now, what I do personally is clear out an entire afternoon of my schedule for content creation. Now, I plan for the entire month at a time, but you can do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever works best for you. The entire goal is to block out all the distractions and simply focus on what you'll post on your account for that specific time frame. Now, an easy way to fill in the space is to see what launches you have coming up, if there's any special occasion or holiday. Also, side note, using caption templates would be a huge helpful benefit for you. There is actually a science behind how you write a post, by the way. There's a 3-step process. I'm not going to get into that today, but make sure to go back one episode, actually. I broke it all down for you entirely. Now, regardless, the first step is getting into the habit of creating content. So, block off a set amount of time every single week or every other week or once a month like I do. Write out a game plan. Write down all your posts. Decide on what photo or video you are going to use with that post. Now, either plan if you're going to go live, what topic you're going to talk about, what your value is going to be, what are you talking about that week. Whatever you're putting out there, all you need to do is plan for it. Get it done now while you are focused, thinking about your dream client and while you're in that zone. Now, a piece of advice that I know will help you a lot is that you got to write an ugly draft first. I know, easier said than done, but you'll be so much more productive this way. So when we are in that creative mindset and we're just kind of like in that zone, we get all of our thoughts out just as they're in our mind. Then what I want you to do is go back and edit and perfect it when you're in the editing state of mind. There's a difference. And that brings me to another process that you should be intimate with. And that's the editing process. If I had $1 for every content that I've seen with either grammatical errors or even just errors in general, I would be a millionaire. And honestly, this isn't also big push for me. We're humans. We're gonna make mistakes. But paying attention to your content, making time for your content, making sure you are making the best first impression, that's also so important. So I find that it's a lot easier to catch these mistakes when you're batching your content versus rushing and trying to get things out or just trying to get something out there. Now, I'm also talking about your pictures and videos too, by the way. Social media is built around photos, text, and videos. Videos, especially nowadays, they are even more important. Especially if you are using Instagram. You've got to have your visual game strong. Now, before I walk you through how I always have photos and videos just available for me, I want you to give you a quick tip. This is something that I learned pretty early in my journey, and I'm sure that's going to help you too. When it comes to pictures, always remember that human images convert. And they convert like crazy, seriously. Post a stat one day, okay? Or maybe even quote. Then, the next day, post a selfie or a picture of you. All things being equal, that selfie will get a lot more engagement than that stat. So, when you're coming up with your picture, try to put some images that have you in them. I actually recommend posting the majority of images about you. People want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with businesses. Remember that one, okay? It is seriously a game changer when you start to implement that. Plus, it makes what I'm about to say a lot easier. So, I also batch my photos and videos. Once a season, I have a photo shoot with my branding photographer. And then I meet up with other entrepreneurs and have shots taken when I'm just, let's say, out on a day. My husband, my sisters, they actually take a lot of my photos while we're just out and about living our life more often than not. And my videos, all I need is my tripod or my ring light or a friend to shoot a video of me. People overthink photos and videos. When posting a lot more about you, you are going to be spending less time creating graphics that really no one cares about. Plus, since it's pictures of you, you can simply live your life, snap a few photos, put them in a folder, and have them available when you're batching your content. Now, another thing we have to mention, when you are posting photos, make sure you are doing photos of you, not headshots. This is not a resume. Social media is here to show you who you are and allow people to get to know who you are. So show up as you would if you're going to hang out with your dream client every single day. And if you really want to make use of your time, wear layers. Take a couple photos in each layer. So let's just say that I'm going to the farmer's market. Maybe I bring a coat, wear a sweater, and I have a tank top under it. I could do a few photos of me in my coat, a few photos of me in my sweater, a few photos of me in my tank top. It's all one day, but I could have a minimum of 3 photos ready to post. Do that 3 days a month, then you'll have enough photos that you can post 12 times during that month. I can go a lot more in depth with more tips about actually batching your photos and videos, which I will get to in another day. But today, the biggest takeaway I want you to walk away with is that you really should be batching your content, creating photos, videos, and writing all of your captions at one time. That way you can always have something ready to post that is actually going to speak to your dream client. And if you want to take it up a notch, when you have your content batched, then you can schedule it out. I will be back next week with how to schedule your content. That way you can get off of social media and live your life. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have learned something new today. If so, can you do me a favor? Leave me a comment. I would love to hear what you learned. And finally, subscribe to my channel for more content like this and be a part of our amazing entrepreneur community that we are building. My name's Lisa Ann. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.